Good evening, everyone. My name is Taru Dahiya. I work at Google Cloud and lead the SMB cloud business across Asia Pacific. We're excited to have you here with us virtually. I know it's not really the pleasant of the times, but really appreciate that you've taken the time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. Well, I hope I'm not going to disappoint you. I will be engaging an eminent personality in a fireside chat tonight and make it an enriching and valuable for all of you. With that, let's hear from Karan Bajwa, a fearless leader for Google Cloud India. Karan, over to you. And if you can please briefly introduce yourself, talk a bit about your role and background.
Thank you very much, Taru. It is really exciting to be with everyone this evening. And as you said, these are unfortunate times. It's a very big challenge that's been thrown at us, something that's extremely unprecedented. But the power of resilience that we've built over the years teaches us to withstand such adversities. So I want to thank everyone who's taken the time out to be with us this evening. And I do hope everyone's safe and everyone's families are absolutely fine in these testing times. For me, it's 3 months now, Taru, having been a part of this fabulous platform called Google and Google Cloud. 3 months have passed in a jiffy. It's just I never felt a single day. It's just been amazing, amazing ride, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. But just a quick background on my journey. I've spent about 30 plus years in the technology industry, largely working in multinational companies like Cisco, Microsoft, and IBM. And I'm so delighted to be a part of this amazing organization and this amazing journey called the Google Cloud. And look forward to this conversation, Taru.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you on board, Karan. Let me set the tone for this event. We will be spending about 20-25 minutes hearing directly from Karan about his journey to Google, his vision for Google India, and what does he look for in folks who are interested in roles at Google Cloud. This will then be followed by a few questions from the audience. We've received a long list of questions, so thank you so much for that. However, given the time restrictions, we will be taking a few questions from the live audience, as well as go through a few from the list that you've sent across. With that, let me also cover a quick note on how to engage with us during this YouTube live event. We have a chat box on the right-hand side of YouTube Live. You would see that. Would love to hear from you. Leave your comments, leave your questions out there. We have two great moderators with us today, Shalav and Happy, who will be chatting with you as well. So please, any questions, any comments that you have for us, leave it there. You may just have a chance to have one of your questions answered live by Karan. With that, Karan, let's dive into the questions I have for you, and would love for the audience to hear directly from you about what was your journey like to Google and why Google Cloud, Karan?
Absolutely. As I said, Taru, as I said, I still want to say, if I ignore all the unfortunate situation around COVID, the last 90 days have clearly been the most exciting 90 days of my entire 30 plus years of journey. And as I said, in spite of COVID, the excitement of creating an organization with a clean slate, the excitement of growing a business, hiring an absolutely world-class team, accelerating customer engagement, partner engagement, and building and executing on the strategy in the same breath almost. That's what makes a day for me these days. And just the fact that we are at home and we're able to spend more time, and I'm not advocating anyone to spend more time, it's just a personal choice. There's a lot that is happening. I was extremely fortunate, Taru, to get a little bit of a time before the lockdown happened. I managed to get across to all the offices, meet all the people, and it was amazing to see the energy that I got from the organization. And that's kind of carried me forward over the last 3 months that 2.5 months that we've been in lockdown. And that's kind of really been the last 3 months. Now, why Google Cloud is a very interesting question. I've spent my life being a part of large multinational organizations, running large businesses, very large teams in my past roles. But there was a still hidden desire to be a part of a creation. Call it the unfulfilled entrepreneurial aspiration that was hidden inside me that kind of had to come out. And this call from Google was very, very timely. What do you really check for when you look at a new organization? Well, you check for the organization, the company that you're going to be potentially working for. You check for the culture. Do you have a cultural fitment with that organization, and does it run with the ethos of what you are? Is it growing? Is it going to be an organization that grows? And finally, is it going to be investing in the business that you're going to be joining? And clearly, for me, all those boxes were solidly checked. And I must say that I've lived each of these things in the last 90 or 90 plus days that I've been there. For me also, Google has been a very aspirational company. Daru, and I've shared with some of you in the past as well that I used to have an office which was right across the Google office, and I used to look out of the window at the Google office and say, one day I'm going to work for this company. The day came pretty fast, faster than I thought it would. And it was super exciting to be a part of the journey and coming in. But after 100 days, absolutely, and I look back and wow, it's been a run like never before. So super excited, supercharged, and look forward to having this be a part of an amazing journey going forward as well.
Yeah, I'm glad we could see you cross the bridge and come over to the side. I would love to hear from you, Karan. This is on top of my mind as I talk to my teams and across regions. How has it been working from home during this period for you? And what challenges have you faced so far given the work from home constraints?
Sure. Look, this is a tough question to answer. Each one's circumstances are different, so I have to be very respectful of each and every individual situation as I attempt to answer this question. I don't want to be sounding very bullish. Just looking at, I may be in a situation where I may have a support system that allows me to do much more in this time, but the environments are very challenging. And I must tell you, Daru, before I even go ahead and talk about what, just as lockdown happened, we suddenly realized we had a lot of time at hand. And just given the fact that I was fortunate enough to have a very strong support ecosystem that allowed me to work, I realized I was working for 14, 15, 16 hours a day. And obviously, when I'm working that much time, I'm also creating work for others. And it was a wake up call for me to say that's not a good situation. I have to realize that everyone's not in the same situation. So we set up a rule for ourselves as an organization pretty early. We said we will not do any structured calls before 9 o'clock and after 6 o'clock. So 9 to 6 is the time that we will have calls. And everybody else is free to do what. And my message to everyone has been, do the best that you can in these times. So we try to be respectful as much as possible in these times of everyone's situation, and yet making sure that we're doing the right thing for our customers. What I really miss, Taru, is the vibrancy of the workplace. And you and I have seen the Google workplace. It is the most amazing workplace I've worked for, and possibly one of the most amazing workplaces in the world. And I miss the vibrancy of the workplace, the camaraderie that happens, the corridor conversations, the cooler chats. That's what I miss. And as you get new people coming into the organization, that vibrancy is so high. That's really what I miss. But gosh, we've been handled a deck of cards, and we got to play with those cards. What have we been doing? Trying to make the most. We get these TGIF sessions where we have fun conversations. We've been doing some very interesting interventions with people. We got a stand-up act happening in one of our TGIF sessions. That was a surprise to our team. So we're trying our best. And yet, I think as an organization, Google's very, very respectful of how to enable employees to be able to work for longer periods. Look, this is not going to end anytime soon, as all of that. I'm not going to play Nostradamus here or play sort of a fortune teller. We don't know when this is going to end, Taru. So Google's allowed every employee that is across the organization to expense up to $1,000 each employee to enable work from home, get you capabilities that allow you to work from home. And there are many other things and benefits that Google is doing as an organization. When we resume as a company and as a larger workforce, things could be very different, Taru. Things could be very, very different. I'm sure the movement is going to be incremental. It's not going to happen one fine day, everyone shows up at office. There's a massive opportunity to reimagine how a workplace will look like. And I actually think it's a great opportunity to actually recreate the workplace. Old ways will not work and should not work. We've been trying many innovative things, as I shared. One of the things I observed, Taru, is it's very easy to get time from people these days, especially customers and partners. We've been very successful in doing massive outreach to people. It was always so difficult to get an event going, the amount of planning that had to happen. People had to spend 3 to 4 hours to come to a 1 hour event. Suddenly that 4 or 5 hours have been contracted to simply that 1 hour that you spend. And we are getting, people like never before to participate with us. Webinars, Productivity is high. It's unbelievable. So, uh, looking at the positive side of things, I would say while the environment is tough, there's a lot of positivity going on in terms of how people are holding together, how we are still working together as a collaborative workforce and still having fun, which is the core of the culture that we all belong to.
Yeah, and huge kudos to you, Karan, for bringing the team together. I know it's like widespread teams, just whether it's TGIF, whether it's like chai chats, I know it's not the same feeling that you get when you go to the micro kitchen to pick up a chai with somebody, but just bringing the teams together on Friday evening and otherwise during other internal meetings as well, it has been super motivating. So thank you for doing all of that. And I'm glad that you don't have a 7-year-old at home, because my 7-year-old would just come in any time with a Halloween mask to scare people on the Hangouts. It's not that easy, but yes, it's
I,
also
I
great.
have a I have a 20-year-old at home, and I can promise you it's challenging as well.
Okay, all right. So let me just move over to the next question I have for you. You've been at Google for close to 3 months now, Karan, and I've been very impressed with your focus and the clarity that you bring to the table on what really needs to be true to accelerate our Google Cloud business in India. Could you please talk to us about your vision for Google Cloud India? An audience would love to hear that as well.
Sure, absolutely. As I look at the platform that we are all a part of, the Google Cloud, I see a few things very clearly, which stand out for me. Number one is a platform built for scale. If I look at what runs on this platform, I almost can count about 9 services that Google runs, each of which have over a billion users each. Talk about scale, unprecedented scale. That's just the Google services that run, each being used by a billion users. I see a very strong differentiation on a few core attributes, a very strong data platform strategy, a very strong application modernization strategy, a very strong hybrid cloud, multi-cloud strategy, and clearly a lead in terms of the capabilities from an AI ML standpoint. Um, the tech is right. The technology is absolutely right. Uh, and the next part of that is we are hiring a great team. I'm super passionate about the team that we are building. I've always believed and I've always had this aspiration to hire a dream team. This is the opportunity. You've seen some of the moves that we made in the past few weeks, past few months. I think it's unprecedented the kind of talent we are able to get. So we are hiring a great team. Talent is going to be our key differentiator. Even as we compete on technology, talent is going to be our key differentiator. And we are backed by very, very strong investments. We've seen some of those play out over the last few weeks, especially as we've announced new regions. So my vision really is to create an engine where we can differentiate, we can amplify and aggregate, we can accelerate, and we can create. Now, let me just play it out for you in a very short way. Differentiation is going to happen through primarily our technology and our solutions. That's what's going to differentiate us. Our amplification and aggregation is going to happen through a very strong partnering strategy. You've seen some of the conversations we've been having on amplifying in the partner ecosystem. So, partners and strategic partnerships will differentiate us in this marketplace. We will accelerate through means like never before. The most powerful lever for us to accelerate is the combined value proposition of one Google. We've seen amazing things happen when Google stands up in front of a customer as one Google. And while each offering sells on its value, the collective power of what Google does for an organization, an enterprise, I have never seen that value in any enterprise company that I have worked for. And I worked for one of the few of the best tech organizations in the world. And I can tell you the power of one Google put together in front of of an enterprise customer is of extreme value to the CEO, to the CFO, to the CMO, and to the CIO. And that's the collective power of one Google. And finally, the pillar on create, which is really we will and we are creating breakthrough partnerships with our clients. The model that we have adopted in this time, the COVID time, is serve, not sell, and really go to customers with a value proposition of breakthrough partnerships. So that's really the core of our. Now it's very famous, Taru. I call it the 4 pillar strategy, and I check with everyone if everyone can relate the 4 pillars. I hope all Googlers can. But that's the 4 pillar strategy / vision that we have for Google Cloud.
Great. Thanks, Karan. I know you touched upon investments as well, the investments that you're making and Google is making in India as well. Could you please shed some more light on what investments are these that Google is making in India, and how will Google leverage those investments?
So on multiple fronts, once just the investments we are making on the cloud platform. The global investments are very well known. We've gone fairly bold publicly about the investments we are making in terms of expansion of the Google Cloud platform, including the investments we made in India, as we announced a few weeks ago, the second region that's going to be set up, and that expansion is the core investment we are making on the platform. We are also expanding and investing a lot into our partner ecosystem. I clearly see that as a differentiation strategy. I've seen the partnering strategy of many organizations, and I believe there is a very clear space in that market from a partnering standpoint. I call it partnering from value, partnering for value propositions, partnering on deep capability. I've seen how most organizations have kind of used the partner ecosystem as more a transaction engine. And I see that as a massive opportunity to not do that and build partnering for value. The third investment we are making, and I keep talking always about it, it is really the people. Taru, I want to be humble about it, but I also want to be very vociferous about it that we are really hiring the best talent in the industry, whether we talk about our tech talent, whether we talk about our selling talent, our partnering talent, our marketing talent, etc. So the engineering talent. I would like to mention a couple of the moves we made very recently, and I want everyone to know that people are choosing to be people who have very strong credibility in the marketplace are choosing to be a part of this platform. A few weeks ago, we had announced our engineering leader for India, Anil Bansali, joined as the VP for engineering. He's going to set up a massive engineering capability for the Google Cloud, and while he's going to build it for the global platform, there is a massive value we get for India, as we call it. And just yesterday, I announced another very exciting leader who's joined us, Anil Valluri, who's kind of led multiple tech organizations. He's been leading organizations as a CEO for the last 10 plus years. He joined us, and that's another very exciting move. And we already have existing leaders in our business who are very strong and credible. And we're going to be making these moves even going forward. So talent and people is our biggest differentiator. Humble, but very proud of that. We are taking to customers a very unique value proposition, Taru, which is, as I said, offered by one Google. That's very important. Most enterprise companies have loved the power of incumbency, and Google's incumbency actually sits in the business in these enterprise organizations, and that's an unparalleled value proposition. And finally, as I spoke to you on breakthrough partnerships, whether it is partners who sell the platform and deliver the platform, or partnerships who we sell with to expand our marketplace. So both those things are important for us. So those are some of the investments that we are making from a platform standpoint.
Yeah. With the latest hire and both starting with the name Anil, I would love to pose this question to you. People who are looking for jobs in Google Cloud, should they have this?
No biases there. It was just a very wonderful coincidence in that sense.
No, it's great to have both the Anils on board. Really excited about that. Karan, this question comes up very often, on internal meetings outside with the customers as well. So let's hear directly from you about what differentiates Google Cloud.
Taru, first, before I talk about the differentiators, I think I've been very clear with everyone, including customers, partners, our own employees, and even to the interactions we've had with media and analysts, that differentiation is going to be the core. We are very mindful of the landscape that exists. We are mindful of who exists in that landscape. So we will absolutely differentiate. I covered some of them, but clear tech differentiators. No questions about the fact that the scale on which Google platform was built. I shared about some of the things that already run on the platform, the scale of the platform, the clear differentiation from how we deliver data platform modernization, how we deliver the application modernization with a platform like Anthos, which is ahead of the curve in terms of what is available in the marketplace. People clearly identify AI ML superiority from a Google standpoint, as well as the differentiation on security. So there are the tech differentiators that we are taking to market. I've spoken about the team that is important for us. Taru, I've always believed that between what is built from a technology standpoint versus what is consumed by customers, there is a wonderful translation layer in between called people. That really makes your technology come alive. And for enterprises especially, that's what makes you come alive. And that's the differentiation we will and absolutely create from. And I've been mindful. I have first-hand view of the talent that exists in the market. So I'm extremely clear on what we are building in that sense. I've been often asked, Taru, about the fact that, hey, you guys are at a number so and so in the stack in terms of market share, etc. How will you lead? How will you grow from here? How will you get the next space and the next space? And what I've said is, if I was in a market that is saturated, I'd be worried. I'm not in a market that is saturated. By all estimates, not more than 20 to 25% of the workloads have actually moved to the cloud. And there is still a very, very long way to go in that sense. And this is not a 100-meter dash that I should be worried where I am. This is a marathon. And persistence, consistency, great teams, engagement with customers, that's going to deliver and determine who stays ahead of the curve as this goes on. So no forward predictions, but the foundational elements are building up very, very strong, and that differentiation is coming across pretty strong in our platform.
And how do you take this differentiation? You talked about technology there, Karan. So how do you bring the best of Google's technologies in front of an enterprise customer?
Enterprises love engagement. Trust me, I've seen that. You can have the world's best technology and not have the best people, and great things will not happen. As I said, that translation layer of people is so important, and that is why. And I think this is the time we are reaching out to people. If you have the passion, if you believe that you want to grow, this is the time to be a part of the Google platform, the Google Cloud platform. We are sort of that is the one big differentiation, which is the people. And I've spoken about the tech differentiators. The other thing that is very important, Taru, is we are creating a very deep technical org. Every individual in this organization will be deeply embedded in technology. If I even look at anyone, I think the best way I describe it is that you got your feet very strongly in technology and your head in sales. That's really the combination I'm looking for in people. So every individual's got to be passionate about technology, and that's kind of the core attribute. And finally, as I said, given the fact that we have an opportunity to create, whether it's a culture or an organization or attributes, we are creating a very customer-centric organization. I'm very mindful that we spend more time with customers than between ourselves. And I've seen organizations suffer from that. Most large organizations spend more time with themselves than with customers. So we have an opportunity to learn from the mistakes of others and create something that is unparalleled.
Great. And I'm going to pick on the keywords that you just mentioned. You dropped in culture there. So, my question to you is, what's the culture like in Google, Karan? It's been 3 months that you've joined us. We'd love to hear it and see it from your lens.
It takes a long time to soak the culture of an organization. It's going to take me a little longer than 3 months to really talk a lot about culture. But there are a few things I've seen. Let me talk about the few attributes that I have seen. Um, I've seen 3 attributes that kind of are a core part of the culture, which is uh, in Google, it's everything about the user slash the customer. So respecting the user. The second part has been respecting the opportunity that exists. So everything gravitates around the opportunity. And the third thing is respecting each other. Those 3 core values that I have learned over the last 3 months, and I've seen it live every day in the organization. An individual is so empowered in this organization, has a very strong voice, that the individual feels very empowered to deliver, whether it is on a business decision, whether it is on a cultural decision or a cultural aspect. I've seen individuals in this organization speak up with empowerment like never before in my working of 30 years. The other part of culture I've seen here is everyone thinks 10x. It's just an embedded thing. Everyone thinks 10x, and this engine has an ability to execute on scale. And I've got to kind of embrace that in the enterprise world, because 10x in the enterprise world is interesting. How do you bring it alive? But the thinking in this company is 10x, and the ability to execute is really on scale. So the mantra that we have for Google Cloud, and it is now it is becoming famous inside the organization, is that it's a 2-word mantra. It says speed and scale. That's how we are running, and that's how we are building. So those are the nuances of culture, Taru, that I have seen over the last 90 days, and I'm sure I'll experience more as time goes by.
Yeah, and being in meetings with you for the last, I don't know how many months, and for so many partnership discussions, I've heard the speed and scale a number of times. So it's like pretty much dreaming of every day about speed and scale. Great. I will, pretty much the last question from what I have for you, and I'll open it up for what the audience has sent questions for. But this question is going to be a popular question across the audience as well. For the folks who are looking to work for Google Cloud, what are the skill sets you would look for, Karan?
I can answer this question in a very complex way, but I'll keep it very, very simple for everyone. And if you have these attributes, how to reach us. Um, I'm looking for four things in people as we build this platform. A clear passion for technology. That's number one. You need to have a strong passion for technology. You need to have a competitive spirit and a competitive edge like no one else. That's very important. Massive ability to collaborate. This platform is about leveraging the power of the oneness of Google and massive ability to collaborate and bring everything in front of the customer and a massive hunger for growth. If you have these four, call us.
Great. And why is it even a good time to join Google Cloud now? And on top of that, like, is it even a good time for someone to leave their existing employer?
I had this fear as we were growing, and we are scaling significantly. As I say, I'm always respectful of the fact that it's a tough world out there, but it's also an opportunity since we are growing to get talent. I was thinking about whether we will get the talent to move at this time. I've been pleasantly surprised. We've been able to get who we wanted to. And why is this a good time? We offer unprecedented growth. This platform is growing, and we offer unprecedented growth from a business standpoint, from a personal standpoint. This is an organization that cherishes its culture. So if you are somebody who's a fan of working in an organization that has core values of culture, this is an amazing place. And and this is an opportunity to be a part of an organization and culture that we are building together. So if you have that passion of being a part of an organization where you have a part of being part of that creation and building that culture in the organization, now's the time.
Great. Thank you, Karan. I'll shift gears and move to the questions that we've received from the audience while they were filling up the registration form. And then I'll also open it up for a few live questions. I know we're receiving a lot of engagement on the chat group, and live questions are coming in as well. But let me just send a few questions over to you to receive from the audience.
Sure.
Yeah, the first one is what I received from somebody in the audience is, what is the cloud's role to improve the business growth and productivity in the COVID-19 situation?
I think COVID-19, and I keep saying it's unfortunate, yet it's an opportunity for everyone to reinvent themselves. There has been talk about transformation in times even before COVID. People have been speaking about digital transformation. People have been speaking about broader transformation. And that balance between breaking legacy and tradition and embracing the new is very tough for most organizations. This is an opportunity where you had no choices. Taru, who would have imagined organizations would be able to do 100% work from home for extended periods of 3 months? A lot of them, I still can't say most of them, but a lot of them have been able to. Nobody thought about it. We always had this. Oh, I was not a fan of work from home at all, and some of the people who know me know, my views on that. But I have changed. So I think this is a massive opportunity for people to reinvent themselves. So number one, so why cloud in COVID and post-COVID? As you reinvent your businesses, one commodity that's going to be very, very scarce is capital. So you would not want to spend capital on anything but your core business. So if your core business is financial services, it's manufacturing, it's retail, it's anything else, you focus on your every dollar on capital on your core business and embrace technology through OpEx. That's kind of one major shift that I would want to see, and people getting bold on that one. Second is the power to drive now. The journey had started. It is an opportunity to 10x that journey, which is really drive a data-powered innovation. With the platform capabilities that exist to allow you to do that, we got to get rid of our encumbrances around a few things and really drive scale data-powered innovation. And finally, as I said, embrace this, lower the entry barrier of technology. And that sort of links back to my first point, lower the entry barrier of technology. I think cloud offers a massive opportunity for people to embrace technology and yet focus very deeply on their core business as they come out, even out of COVID or even during COVID.
Sure. And this seems to be a trend. What I'm seeing, the questions coming from the audience is about how would this look like post-COVID, right? And this is more to do with specific vertical. So let me pose a question to you, Karan. What is the GCP plan for addressing the digital transformation opportunities in India's media and entertainment sector post-COVID? So this is very specific to media and entertainment sector.
All right. Okay. Look, I think if we just see the media and entertainment industry, it's easy to divide it into two halves. One half that's kind of literally been seeing explosive growth. Explosive is the wrong word to use, but massive growth in this time. They've seen traffic unprecedented, literally 10x, 20x of traffic. That's one aspect of media and entertainment. And then there's the traditional media and entertainment, which has actually taken a massive hit. Uh, Platforms have tried to innovate. We've seen some of the platforms start to talk about live talk shows, live comedy shows. They've had experiences, they've had experiments on that. I won't comment on how successful they've been, but they've been trying to reinvent their businesses. But as you come out, or as you sort of deliver, as you try work in this tough time, there are a few things that technology and especially cloud could allow you to do. Think about something as simple as post production. Post production needs people to collaborate. People have been sitting together in studios, collaborating. Suddenly, with the power of technology, you are able to now allow sharing of content and collaboration and literally run a virtual studio on cloud. In fact, I've been talking to some media customers on running virtual studios for post production, where editors, producers all can collaborate on the platform. And that's kind of one use case. The second one has been as content explodes, and we've seen the explosion of content, there is increased pressure on cost. The ad revenues have gone down for people. The consumption has gone up, ad revenues have gone down. So it's a bit of a double whammy in that sense. Efficient distribution of content is going to be the second use case that cloud can support. And what we have been doing is, the way we actually deliver capabilities on YouTube, we've been taking out some of those capabilities and actually offering it to media clients so they can actually deliver efficient content to their users. And YouTube runs on scale as you know it. And then, of course, the third aspect of it is how do you transform user experience, user engagement in from a media standpoint for their customers, leveraging things like machine learning. How do you take how do you engage an audience during a movie, during a show? How do you engage audiences? So there are some use cases and there are more building up, but there's a lot more technology that can be leveraged in media and entertainment. And by the way, that industry has been doing a good job on using technology, but this is the time when you can actually break tradition.
Yeah.
Why would you want to move why would you not want to move to a virtual studio environment 100%? There are some of those things that people will have to break the ceiling on.
Great. Thanks, Karan. We're seeing a lot of questions coming in. How do you feel about shuttling between what they've sent, what the audience has sent pre-hand, and then what we have right now coming in from the chat box? Can I shuttle between these questions and ask you really like one coming from Chandrasekhar? Thank you, Chandrasekhar, for your question. Karan, the question from Chandrasekhar is, which are the key industries GCP has a targeted GTM for?
I think more than us selecting industries, it's about where do we see the opportunity based on the market transition that is happening. So clearly, digital natives is absolutely, they have been the users of technology. And I also see that digital natives, while they've been great users of a cloud native environment and technology, they've also been engineered for growth and engineered for good times. Sorry, I should say. There's a massive opportunity to engage digital natives and optimize for them. So digital natives is absolutely a no-brainer. I would see regulated industries break the chasm. Now, that's a conviction I have. I got to see if it comes alive. Regulated industries, financial services, government, which have kind of been bound by regulation. And I'm not going to sit on judgment on whether right or wrong. It's how regulation evolves. I would see them accelerating the adoption of technology like never before. It's going to this is going to push that. So banking and financial services, government, and of course things like manufacturing, retail, continue to be important ones. So it's very difficult to say which will not. Now, some industries will find it tough to survive. Obviously, those will have to go through their transition, possibly reinvent. But I see a cross-sector focus or a potential potential from a cloud standpoint as we emerge out of this new transition. And it's not about cloud; it's about how customers can embrace technology, how they can embrace technology on scale.
Great. I think this is also a good segue. What you mentioned, Karan, is a good segue into what Sohail has asked us. Thank you, Sohail, for the question. Sohail says that it seems many of the banks and finance institutions are still skeptical to adopt cloud as a platform, software as a service, or infra as a service. How do you think you could bring in banks to adopt Google Cloud or cloud in general and run their businesses 24 by 7 using cloud capabilities and functionalities?
It's not correct to say that banks have not adopted cloud. I don't think it's correct to say. They have been uh, very mindful of the regulatory environment they work in. They have been adopting. Yeah, sure, core banking has not moved to the cloud, and that's going to take time. So they started with tier three, tier four workloads. They started with collaboration, and they've been moving in a step by step way to the cloud. And don't mistake, this is not just about a move to the public cloud. When you look at a traditional bank with a lot of legacy, take a public sector bank, one of the core focus areas for them is already, I'm seeing that happen, is the whole application modernization. Uh, Rather than take everything from on-premise to move it to a public cloud, how do they build a capability where they're able to make their entire legacy application suite cloud ready? And that's a very big opportunity for banking. Data platform, as people now scale through data platform modernization, that journey had already started for the big banks, big financial services institutions. It's going to now get down to the bottom of the pyramid as well. So data platform modernization, the application landscape modernization, those are very, very real capabilities. And for a very, very long time, AI and ML have been things that people have not adopted on scale. People have tried, tested. I think this is the time that people will now have to invest in some of these capabilities to simply differentiate and sort of stay ahead of the curve in that sense. So I would say that the barrier of regulation would go down in these times, and people would adopt technology much more than ever before.
Karan, the next question from Nayantara is something that you answered, but it'll be great to just pinpoint or zero down on one growth area and an area for opportunity. So the question is very simple. What is that one thing at Google Cloud Karan has noticed that is an area of growth opportunity?
It's difficult to say one area of growth, and I'm not sure area. The question, does it point to a technology area or does it point to a vertical? Clearly, if I look at just the market segment view, obviously digital natives will always carry the first cut because they have been the largest users of cloud, and I see digital natives as the largest opportunity. And mind you, I'm sort of being very clear that in these times they are very open to adopting a multi-cloud strategy. Cost optimization is a key lever for them, and they run infrastructures which are engineered for good times. There is massive. We've seen opportunity to optimize across multiple customers that we've engaged. So clearly, from a market segment standpoint, I would say that uh, digital natives would carry the cut, be ahead of the curve in terms of the biggest opportunity. And if I would look at from a technology standpoint, I would put two things, data and application modernization. Those two places would offer the biggest opportunity.
Great. There's a question from Rachit on SMB and enterprises. Since a lot of SMB and enterprises rely on partners, and he's called out SIs, system integrators, technology partners, etc., for cloud consumption and implementations, what sort of strategy you have for working with or onboarding new partners?
Taru, and we've worked very close on this one. If I were to be provocative, I would say that not one technology company has cracked the code on serving the mid-market in this country. Um, yeah, it's everyone does a great job at the top of the pyramid. Everyone serves those customers very well, but as you get below the top of the pyramid, it gets to be a very fragmented way of serving. The opportunity is to completely disrupt that model of serving IT to the mid-market. I will not open up too much with my strategy on this conversation, but I can tell you that what's going to differentiate is if you can find a model to serve the mid market, which is not optimized offering out, but which is customer inwards, which is how do you understand what an SMB wants versus your desire to sell a solution that will make a difference. And then you find a route to market which is scale, which can scale and have replicability. Those two nuances. Stay tuned if the individual who asked for more for this question, stay tuned for more on this. You will hear a lot from us on this one.
Great. And having worked with you on these, I can say that what you just said is so absolutely true. Like we haven't cracked that, right, across other partners. Yeah, that's one big opportunity that we have in Indian market. Great. I'd say before we wrap up, a question from Rishabh. Rishabh has been asking about how Google is planning to market their AI offerings in Google Cloud.
I think AI is an experience you got to take customer by customer. I don't think we've reached a stage where we can take a use case of AI and start marketing on scale. You got to curate every individual customer's journey for AI. You got to have the platform capability that clearly allows you to engage the customer, and then you got to find the use cases by customer. I don't think we've reached a point where I can take a scale use case. But we ran Google Meet on scale. We touched thousands of customers on scale. I don't think we've reached a point of standardization of AI to run a scale campaign. It's got to be customer by customer, and there are very strong vertical nuances of those use cases. So it'll typically start from the top to the mid of the pyramid before it comes to a point where there are scale users that can develop. And look, again, I could be wrong on this. I don't want to sort of say that I understand all of this, but my current view is the AI journey for each customer will have to be customized before we are ready to take it on scale.
Sure. And one last question coming in before we wrap up from Google Developer Group, so GDG Cloud Mumbai. Question is about the roadmap for developer ecosystem and communities in India. How do you see the roadmap for the developer community?
I think engagement. Google's been, the one organization that has always believed in the power of innovating on technology and keeping it out in the ecosystem to develop further. Kubernetes is a very, very clear example of that. TensorFlow is another example of that. There are many examples of Google building technology and keeping it out in the ecosystem to develop. And I think for us to leverage that power and engage the ecosystem much more than ever before, there is a very clear plan that we are working to engage the broader developer ecosystem, whether it is developers that sit in large clusters in system integrator companies, whether it is developers that sit in captive, the global capability centers, or just the broader breadth developers that exist in the market. We are building a plan to fairly broadly engage. And again, I think it's not about just the cloud platform. There is a larger Google platform. So we got to take the larger Google story to these developers, which we are. I think that it's not something that we are creating now. It's been always on. Sure, there is a potential for amplification, given just the fact that this is the second largest developer ecosystem in the world.
Great. Thank you, Karan. As we are towards just wrapping up the event, really appreciate all the time that you've taken out this evening to answer the questions. And for the audience, if you enjoyed this event and would like to be invited to similar types of events, can you please take 2 minutes of your time to fill up the feedback form? We've generated a QR code here, must be flashing on the screen. Alternatively, you can click the link to the chat box as well. And please take the time to fill it up. I can't share more on this, and stress more on this, that your feedback is very important to us and absolutely confidential too. Well, thank you all for your time today again. We appreciate having each and every one of you here. I know it's a virtual event, not that like a physical event where you get to feel the energy, but the engagement in the chat box was amazing. Thank you so much for that. We hope that this session was interesting and valuable for all of you, and hope that you've gained some valuable insights from this. Take care and have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.